All right. But yeah, what I've been thinking about doing is, yeah, because I finished up a lot of the stuff. I've been thinking about it this way too. It's like I'm getting rid of, I mean, I got rid of most of the critical stuff I needed to get done. And now I'm getting rid of all of the small stuff that doesn't really matter. And I'm just putting it into like just some thought capture places because I don't need to complete all those tasks, right? Instead, you know, ideally what you should be working on in business is what moves the needle the most, not
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
the, because if you're always in the minutia trying to clean up all this stuff, which is I tend to get sucked into, then you never get time for the big stuff that actually matters. So I've got a bunch of all like small cleanup stuff, but it's more effective to just figure out. That's what I'm trying to figure out is like, what is the next big project? What matters the most? And what I'm coming to that I think probably makes the most sense as far as the low hanging fruit is YouTube retargeting ads.
Mm.
So what I'm going to try and do is I just brought on a new guy. He's full time, and he's basically acting as my personal assistant, project manager. And so I'm just training him on everything that I can train him on. Right, just
Mm.
basically. He's running the projects, running communication for everyone. He's going to be answering the email for Bulldog Mindset. He's answering all comments on the YouTube channel and Instagram DMs, all this kind of like little annoying stuff. And then he's actually doing research for YouTube videos every week. So part of his job is to research, figure out what YouTube videos I should create, give me 3 ideas, give me some bullets for what I should talk about, and some research that he's done, and then to like come up with a thumbnail idea and the title and all that stuff. So that basically all I should have to do is every week just go record those videos, record the Bulldog Mindset video, and then work on my main project so I can focus on that. And then my plan is probably going to be to just spend like all my time this way I can be focused on learning YouTube ads, right? Learning
Yeah.
just figuring out how do I set up YouTube retargeting ads. And that might mean taking a video course on it, experimenting with it, hiring a coach to get some training, whatever it is. And
Yeah.
that should just be my entire focus until I master it, until I get to the point where that is like a part of the business that is just working, and then move on to the next project. So that's kind of
I
the
like it.
what I'm setting up now. But
I like it. I mean, to make the leap from YouTube retargeting to just YouTube ads is like this small. It's
yeah,
just getting retargeting to work is a big step in the right direction to get your ads to work. If you can get retargeting to work, then getting ads to work is actually, you know, a very simple step in that direction. I heard someone say a very interesting thing, which I think you probably will appreciate now um, after kind of so many different ways in which you've tried ads in the past, right? Mostly through hiring outside agencies and outside people to run ads. The guy said, you can't really create a diamond by hiring outside agencies to do the ads for you, but you can polish the diamond,
right. Yeah.
right? And that's basically what happens with like when you're initially embarking on a new marketing channel, which is what you're doing here. That you can't create a diamond. You can polish the diamond through external efforts, but initially it is going to be you to create the diamonds. Then you can go through the polishing phase with like external agencies and things like that. So you will need to go through the work of creating that and doing all of that. You will need to go through the work of proving that it works for you. Going from 0 to 1 is
Yeah.
basically it's your company's responsibility. And then 1 to 100, you can find external people to help you scale that. But 0 to 1
Exactly.
is where you really need to put in the effort and energy. But yeah, man, I'm excited. I agree. Like that's a huge phase. Like uh, I over the last 1 year, basically I've committed myself to ads, and I feel like that's the only scalable system we have available to us. Um, and yeah, it has been a rocky roller coaster of a ride, but I still believe that with the results that we have, it's not that far-fetched to take it to the next level. It's just a matter of putting more time, energy, effort into making it work clearly, cleanly. And you and I have a mutual friends. We're not going to name names here. Oh, I was just talking to you about him. The guy just, he runs mostly Facebook ads as an affiliate though, like not through he has his own product and he does some affiliate marketing. And he was talking about how his, grows on track to do 10 million this year. And just last month, his income just from running different kinds of ads was like 600K, just income, not revenue. So that speaks volumes to what is possible with ads compared to what you can do with organic efforts. Organic effort is just to get to that scale. I don't know how many eons it takes to get to that, that magic number, clearing 500K in a month or clearing 10 million in revenue in a year.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, the other thing I was thinking about in regards to this whole thing is it's like, because I've been trying to like clean things up and get like certain things done and taken care of, and money fixes all those problems. Like a lot of problems can just go away with money, right? So if you focus on doing the thing that creates money, then you can throw money at the problem, at a lot of problems, right? So for instance, I mean, even simple things like, I'm trying to think of like,
I mean, everything operations related that you're doing, like, I'm glad you hired the project manager. That itself is like throw money at the problem.
Right.
All the problems.
I mean, you still got to do the training for that, but there's a lot of things that when if you have more cash flow, you can just make a suboptimal choice, and then the money makes up for it. So I'm trying to think of some good examples right now. I can't, I'm spacing them, but that's the other thing I'm thinking is like, just do the thing that's going to make the money in the business right now. And then, for all the other stuff, you can have someone else do those things or,
Yeah, I think there are two critical, like, or at least like once someone gets to like at least a couple of 100K in revenue, hiring an ops/project manager is like crucial to move to the next stage, because otherwise you're just constantly like just running into time constraints for your own self to be able to scale the business.
Yeah.
Having that ops/project manager person allows you to be more strategic in your approach with everything. Yeah, that ops person is crucial for long-term growth of the business. Once you get multiple six figures.
The other thing is that one thing that tends to come along with that is just a certain level of complexity, and at the same time, because of that, there are certain things that you're kind of uniquely set up to handle. And so by getting all the other stuff off your plate, you can do the stuff that you have to do, and you're not the bottleneck on that stuff because you're trying to chase all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Which seems to be my problem over and over and over again. So
yeah, you're right about that though. Like, we become the bottlenecks in our business. And there's a very interesting, like in the E-Myth, Michael Gerber talks about this challenge that every business faces. And what John just said, you have to train the person, is the crucial element there. Like what I have seen happen so many times, even with my mastermind clients, they'll be like, okay, I hired this operations person. Now I'm just, I meet with them once a week and I pay them well, so I expect them to take over everything. And I'm like, no, that's a recipe for disaster. You're gonna, you're gonna frustrate yourself in a month or two. You're just gonna be like, screw this. This shit doesn't work. Let me just go do it myself. You really have to train the guy or gal a lot in the initial phase. Mm-hmm. And only then can you expect that person to be able to understand and speak your language and then do the work. It's almost like just because you pay the money doesn't mean the person understands exactly what needs to happen on a day-to-day basis. So the more time you can spend, just whatever you're doing, if you can just be like, hey, let's jump on a call, let me show you this while I'm doing this. It's way more powerful than accumulating all of that shit for the next 1 hour meeting you do once a week, which will be terrible. So more time spent with your ops manager over time will only give you so much more time back to you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I don't even want to create any SOPs or systems documents or process documents. I hate that shit. So I just asked my ops manager to get on a call with me to go over anything. Like, I'm like, this is what I'm doing. Record this shit and create your own systems and documents. I'm not going to create any systems and documents. Like, the biggest pain for an entrepreneur is to think, okay, I need to go and create systems and processes for this person. No,
Right, exactly,
that's like creating
yeah.
a job for
Yeah.
yourself. Instead, you just record, have them ask you questions, record that, and then they create those SOPs and documents. And now you're free and clear to do the work that you want to do.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Yeah. In fact,
Yeah,
my
man.
plan with a lot of that is to get, like, let's say, like my project manager guy right now, he's going to be doing answering, comments on all the YouTube videos, like every comment that comes out, because I haven't even had time to do that myself, or on Instagram Reels and stuff like that, which should increase engagement a lot. And then also it's a good sales opportunity, right? Because here's the thing is, like, all those comments, all those, like, interacting with people, DMs, all that stuff, those are all, like, you can do sales directly from that and start closing people. It doesn't take much for it to be worth it. So the idea is, like, have him do all this stuff, have him develop a process around this and document it, and then let's find someone really cheap that is just going to be a customer service person, and then hire them and have him train them on his process that he's developed, rather than me trying to create a process, right? Because I can't even create a process around that, because what am I going to do? Spend, weeks just answering comments and YouTube, you know what I mean? And, like, it's better to just have him do it and then have him. And so kind of what I'm looking at is, like, putting him into a bunch of different roles and then having him define the processes for those things, and then hiring people, that can do those roles they're real simple. So
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's, like, business is a game of going to a higher level of abstraction every single time.
yeah.
And if you can't do that as an entrepreneur at any level, you're stuck. Right.
Yep.
So, and your employees also need to understand that they need to get to higher levels of abstraction to make themselves more useful to the business, rather than hold on to stuff to make themselves less useful to the business.
Yeah.
So higher level of abstraction for yourself is the crucial element there. Like, you're saying, okay, I am going to be able to set the overall tone, rather than go and do these stupid, little push the button things every single day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Like, one of the biggest things that we're battling right now is churn on Focusbox. And I've got, like, a person dedicated just to customer retention now.
Yeah.
It's our whole full-time job. Like, I have a person dedicated to ops, and then one person dedicated to customer retention. And all she does all day is obsess over how we can keep every single person that comes. Like, what do we do? How can we, what kind of emails to send, what kind of, onboarding to do in the first 7 days, in the first 14 days, what kind of offers to make. It's like, that is a whole freaking one-person job, if not more.
Yeah.
But that's, like, the level of abstraction that initially I would want to do all the time, but cannot do anymore.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, along those same lines, it's funny. I've been handling support emails from people that want to cancel the Bulldog Mindset membership. And so, I started testing out. I started sending them email, like, just replying back and saying, yeah, telling them how to cancel or whatever. And then saying, oh, by the way, instead of leaving, or before you leave, would you like to, what if I offer you the platinum membership for 75% off? So it's just, and surprisingly, a lot of people are excited about that deal and they take the deal. So it's people who would cancel for $30 or $40 a month, but then they'll pay $250 or whatever it is. So I didn't offer it to everyone, but I was just testing that deal out and seeing, but it's interesting. Like,
what percent of people are taking that?
So far from the tests, it was 75%.
Oh,
how many people did you handle?
It was 8, and I think 6 of them took it. So
8.
Yeah.
Okay. 8 people. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So that's an interesting data point, right? That's really good.
Which is something you might actually be able to use too. Your retention person is maybe if they're going to cancel, instead you just offer them a lifetime, right, subscription for a really
We don't
cheap
do
price.
lifetime yet, but we can do annual. I think we can
Yeah.
provide annual at a very cheap price and still not cheap price, but annual at a price that makes it worth for them to try and stick around. We'll see.
Yeah.
Like that's an interesting data point there.
I like the idea of
So yeah,
having a person completely dedicated to that
because
task.
it's such a big challenge. Like I'm looking
Yeah.
at all the numbers. Like I'm not just looking at the churn in isolation. I'm looking at the total lifetime value of a customer
Right.
compared. So there are four metrics in this business that I'm really obsessing over right now. One is cost per acquisition. That's like, because it's, we're running paid ads more or less. We're not, organic, whatever happens, but paid ads is basically the crucial part of this. Like like cost per acquisition is one. The second is average order value in the funnel. The funnel AOV, right? Not AOV, funnel AOV. Third is lifetime value.
Right.
Right. So if we can optimize around, and the fourth is churn, right?
Right.
So CPA, AOV, LTV, and churn.
Yeah.
Now here's the interesting part. I can bring down my cost per acquisition from $100 to $50, which will take me a lot of work to improve that, like to basically half my ad cost. Or I can reduce the churn from 15% to 10%, and that'll give us the exact same bump or exact same improvement in or total money made.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
that 15% to 10% is way easier to achieve than $100 to $50 CP.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Similarly, the AOV part, in funnel AOV, adding the right bumps and upsells, because so far I haven't had the right bumps and upsells. I'm like, if we can get that to just $20 or $30, that's much, much, much easier to do than reducing the ad cost by $50, $20 or $30.
Right. Yeah.
So it's almost like playing with all of these numbers, and then same with LTV. If we can increase the LTV through making different offers or adding another product, that's again way cheaper, way more simpler than CPA. So it's like these four numbers. If I can just keep figuring out like what is the number I need to play with now, or what is the easiest number to improve right now in the business, that is way more powerful than just saying I just need to reduce my ad costs, which is what most of us want to do by default, because it's very clearly defined and measurable. Like every day you can see what your ad costs are. But these three numbers are much harder to kind of constantly figure out and work with.
In reality, too, you might want to increase your ad costs if
Yeah,
you think
sometimes,
about it, because if you can spend 120 per customer, then you can get more customers, because at the higher you're willing to pay for a customer, the more customers you can get. You just have to be able to support it on the back end. So as long as you can support it on the back end, then yeah, you want higher ad costs, like technically, like, within the.
Ultimately, as I think it's Russell Brunson or Ryan Diet, someone said, the person who can afford to pay the highest for a customer always wins.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what
Russell Brunson.
Right.
He's quoting somebody else, but
I think he's quoting Dan Kennedy. Maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
So Dan Kennedy, by the way, Russell Brunson bought Dan Kennedy's stuff. Like he bought Dan Kennedy's business.
Yep. I saw that.
Yeah. So the business that can afford to pay the highest will win. That means churn, AOV, and LTV are the biggest players in this. Cost per acquisition is important, but to a certain level, only that allows scale. Yeah. CPA is only like I would scale to infinity today if I could keep $100 consistently, like bringing in new customers every day. Like it's very inconsistent. Like sometimes it goes up to 110, 120, and now you have to constantly like maneuver and improve on those things. But like having that person just dedicated to increasing the not AOV, but LTV and churn those are the two things that she is focused on, LTV and churn. Like
Yeah.
that is, and it's not like she can do it all by herself. She still needs my guidance and support all the time, but that's her job. Like reduce churn, reduce churn, reduce churn. If we can go from 15% to 5%, that's almost like saying our cost per acquisition went down from $100 to $1. That's how powerful the churn numbers are, right? Similarly, if in funnel AOV goes from currently like we're at like $5 because it's a $0 trial, 7-day trial, and then there's a bump and there's no upsell. If we can take that to like $30 or $40, that's as good as reducing our ad cost by half.
Yeah.
Yep.
And those are much easier to do than reducing the ad costs, which only keep rising. Same with LTV. If you increase the LTV, again, the ad cost doesn't matter. So it's like the game is played on so many different dimensions now, like so many different frontiers now.
Yeah, I'm going to try and start jumping on next week onto Focus Blocks, and then we can probably do a promotion after that. My plan is to just try and do I want to do 4 Focus Blocks basically in the morning every weekday.
That would be amazing.
Because if I just do that, I just have to line up the work for it. Then I'll be pretty much, I should pretty much get all the work I need to get done in that time. So
yeah. Oh yeah, 4 Focus Blocks is massive.
Yeah.
And that's it. Basically, you're at that point, all your high value tasks are done for the day.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And then we can promote it. Like you can even tell people that I'm usually on the blocks in these hours. If you want to come co-work with me, and people will show up in those times to do that.
I'm planning on upping mine as well, but it's because my work situation is about to take a drastic change.
What's going on?
So I just picked up a contract. It's a full-time contract. So I just resigned at Morgan Stanley. The company that I have been really coy about not mentioning where I work at. Yeah, I just resigned at Morgan Stanley. I nearly doubled my income by picking up
as a contractor. Good.
Nice.
So
gonna do the same hours?
More or less, yeah. So
working from home?
Working from home. Yeah,
then
the
you
company
will be on
I'm contracting to is over in like the DC metro area. So anyway, so I'm going to be putting in my contract time. I'm not going to be full-time pairing anymore, so Focus Blocks is all of a sudden much more of an option.
Okay.
It's much more of a requirement if you're doing that kind of work. You want to do that.
Plan.
Yeah.
So hooking all that up and then just getting all the rest of this stuff together so that I can get things done with top-end devs and eventually, hopefully, start cutting back the hours on the contracting because the other stuff's picking up. But yeah.
So we had a contractor, and I can't name his name because he told me not to. He's a guy who came from Simple Programmer a long time ago and became a customer of 2000 Books, and then he joined Focus Blocks. And there was a period of time for 3 months he did so many. He was like crazy crushing Focus Blocks, and I was like, dude, what's going on? Turns out he made $140,000 extra in those 3 months doing so many focus. He's like, I just had so much work that I know I could do, but I wasn't doing because I just couldn't get myself to focus. And as a result of Focus Blocks, he literally made an extra $140,000 in his contract work. And I still can't share his name or his face because he's like, I don't want people to know that I made that kind of money in so short period of time. I'm like, okay, well.
Wow.
Yeah, he's like, he's just a contractor for the government and for some other stuff, and he's like, he just kept on doing the work. He's like, I'm like, dude, take a vacation, take some time off. He's like, no, I'm making money right now. I'm like, all right, well, screw it.
Yep.
So who knows? So Chuck, this is a good move for you?
Yeah, it's a really good move. Like I said, the money's better. The hours are about the same. The
Still doing
division
full-time?
what was that?
It'll still be full time.
Yeah, basically.
East Coast time.
It'll be East Coast time. They are willing to work around stuff in the morning just because I have to take my girls to school in the morning. But so I'll start a little later than them, I guess, and finish a little later than them, but it's not a major problem. I guess they have 1 or 2 people working for them in Central Time, so Mountain Time's only another hour. So it's not terrible, but yeah, anyway, they're excited to have me come on board. I'm excited to work with them.
Nice.
Um,
When's
so
that
yes.
starting? This week?
No, it starts the Monday after Thanksgiving. So
It's taking a couple of weeks off.
no, I gave notice over here, so I've got basically the way it's looking like it's going to work out is I'll work most of this next week, and then I think I'll work Monday of the week after, and then I've got to burn off the rest of my PTO before I go, which I was going to do anyway for Thanksgiving, so it doesn't really. I'm just going to take a couple extra days off that I wasn't planning to. So I can buckle down and, really kind of get some sales funnels and stuff nailed down and processes figured out. And
What's going on with that? We haven't talked about your mastermind/coaching program in probably a month and a half.
yeah, I know. And that's because I have complete. You guys are going to tell me that I'm doing it wrong again because I'm building some courses. That's what I've been doing.
Tell me more.
So, I am currently working on some courses around. One of them's in line with the book that I wrote about finding a job. Some of it's around some of these other things. I am still actually doing some of the coaching stuff. Like I wind up doing like a preliminary coaching call and then pitching people. But I've been following this method from The Prosperous Coach, which is a book that I read. And so what you do is you do a coaching call, and then you basically give them homework, and then on the second call you follow up, and then you basically point out the value of, hey, look, there's value not only in the advice I'm giving you and the experience that I bring to the table and things like that, but the accountability that I'm bringing, and you got these results, right? And I'm starting to see this actually pay fruit. So,
Nice.
So I've got a couple of people I'm talking to next week that are on the second call, and one of them already emailed me and said that he's lined up like a $30,000 contract off of some of the stuff that I made him do,
Right.
and stuff like that. So anyway, so I plan on
Have you made some sales as a result of it?
It kind of pushed back the process a few weeks, so no, I haven't yet. But
you'll find out in a couple of weeks how it's
I'll find out here within the next week or so.
Yeah.
And so I've been pushing a lot of that through, and then just working on a lot of this other stuff around.
Tell me about the course. Like, what are you building?
So effectively, what I'm building is I want to build a platform for people to come and become top 5% developers. I mean, the more I thought about that and the more I kind of sunk my teeth into that, I realized that that's really what I cared about. And the coaching fits into that, but it's not the whole story. And honestly, I like helping people on the coaching level, but I feel like I need to be helping more people at a different level. And so I'm really looking at putting together more of a membership type thing based off of the podcasts. I feel like it's something that I could sell easily on the podcasts. And so what I'm looking at doing is putting together like ongoing paid video series. But rather than selling like each series as its own subscription, it's just going to be one subscription, and you get access to all of them, all of the premium content that comes out every week. And so
what was the reason for going down this route versus going down the route of the Prosperous Coach, or just a coaching/mastermind thing?
Well, man, it feels like there's so much context behind it at this point because we haven't talked about it for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, a lot of it is, and this is stuff I've been thinking about for a while, and I'd start heading down this road, and you guys would push me back onto the coaching track. Um, but really, there are a couple of things. One is that the more I talk to people, the more I feel like more people need this content. The other thing is that, like I said, I like helping people on the level of coaching, but it's really not what I want to do long term. I mean, short term, yeah, it could probably help me get out of the hole as I, because I could fill in more income. But that's not even really as much of a concern anymore because my income's going to go way up. So at this point, I was like, okay, well, what do I want? Like, what do I actually want? If I sat down and I was like, what's the thing that I've been kind of dreaming Dev Chat would be for ever? And this was it. And so, effectively, what I'm looking at is it's not just the ongoing series, but it's what do you have to do in order to be that top 5% of developers in your field? And so there are specific things that people have to do, and nobody's training them how to do it. And when I talk to people, whether I'm coaching them on it, I've been doing weekly Q&A calls for the last few months, and I've actually invited some people to do the Prosperous Coach, coaching calls, and I'm probably going to pitch one of them, on ongoing coaching, because they're in the process now. But the deal is again, they're back to this, okay, well, how do I level up, or how do I get a better job, or how do I, make my job match my lifestyle, or, I'm a new leader in my position. How do I move up? And it's like, well, why is there not content out there for this, for people in these positions? And so I was like, you know what? I need to build the system.
Is this going to be leadership, or is it going to be technical? Is it going to be soft skills?
It's going to be both. And to be honest, I'm actually looking for other authors to come in and bring in some of the other technical content. So I'm probably going to be doing a lot more of kind of the leadership, career, soft skills kind of stuff. And I'm actually talking to a whole bunch of my co-hosts at this point. Several of them are interested in building content for it as well. And then I'm probably going to do something pretty similar to what Pluralsight did or does. They've completely screwed up their commission structure, but what they used to do is they had a percentage that they paid out to authors, and then you would get a percentage of that based on how much viewership you got. And so I'm essentially looking at just doing that for them, right? And so effectively, whatever the overall number of minutes watched is, whatever percentage of that you
And you would charge what, like $99 a month? Is that the plan? Something like that, or?
Well, so I went and I looked at some of the other ones out there, like IT Pro TV, Pluralsight. What other ones are there? There are a handful. There are a whole bunch of them out there. Went and looked at some of the other ones. They're all priced about $40 a month. And so that's where I was looking at pricing, was about the same place.
How are you going to compete with those?
Well, for one, none of them offer soft skills courses at all. Like, I couldn't find a single one that offered any of this. Hey, here's how you move up in your career. Here's the program for getting what you want from your career. Here's leadership. What do you do in these circumstances? I mean, nobody is covering any of that. And then the other thing is that most of them bank on the hardcore, like 6 to 10 hour courses, which I don't mind providing. Like, if I can find some to license, or somebody wants to make them, I'm happy to add them to the catalog. But what I'm finding is that a lot of people are into, I need to learn how to solve this problem. What's the 1 hour tutorial for it? Or the other one that I'm seeing is the kind of the 15 to 20 minute weekly video where it's, here's this thing in Rails, or here's this thing in React.
There's actually a lot of leadership content on Pluralsight.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, you got to check it out. Introduction to Leadership and Management for Developers, 4 hours. Generational Leadership, Adapting to a Changing Workplace, Leading Change, the head, heart, and hands approach. Leadership, Getting Started, Leadership for Non-Managers, Understanding and Applying Leadership Styles, Leadership and Communication Skills for
Okay.
Software Engineers. 131 courses in that.
Okay.
Pluralsight Live, Level Up Your Leadership, Effective Communication, High Performance Teams, Becoming a Change Leader, Managing Conflict, Running Effective Meetings, Diverse and Inclusive Cultures. A lot. So now you're going head to head against Pluralsight, who is a very big established name. And not to say that you can't do it. I mean, shit. I mean, I got 2,000 books doing its own thing. While there are plenty of other big names in the space and stuff like that. At least, like, is that really the direction you want to take this? Because it's a long, hard road to build that out and to kind of competing against Pluralsight at this point, like with the brand name that they have, especially trying to position the same stuff, that's hard. Like, unless there's a very specific, I'm thinking instead of going so broad, you need to go the other way, which is very narrow to get kind of penetration in the marketplace. You go broad, you can't really. I'll give you an example. So before, when I was doing 2,000 books, and I was doing all these videos and stuff, I did not, like, there were other companies that were also selling book summaries, and I knew that there was no way I could compete with them on a membership basis or on like volume basis of the content that they provided. So I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to sell mental toughness, right? I'm not selling book summaries. I'm selling mental toughness. They're all selling book summaries. I'm selling mental toughness as a package, as an outcome. And then I said, I'm going to sell productivity. Then I'm going to sell social skills. Then I'll sell entrepreneurship. I never sold book summaries. I never sold them.
Right.
And the reason why I say that is because in order to compete with behemoths, you can't do what the behemoths are doing.
Right.
You have to almost sell a completely different track. And the funny thing is, now all these big names like the Blinkists and mentor boxes and all these of the world, they are coming around to running ads on like develop emotional intelligence, develop mental toughness. These are the 30 books, blah, blah, blah. They're literally running ads on those verticals now, something I was doing like maybe 5-6 years ago on those verticals. So they're coming around to doing that niche marketing and going after that. But they can, the understanding that I'm trying to kind of create here is that in niches are riches. One of my mastermind members, he runs, test automation stuff. Now people go all over the place to do, buy stuff on other things, but he's really good at it. He's one of the best, and like he has a brand name against it. And people don't go to Pluralsight for that. I'm sure they do, but they also they buy his stuff. They are interested in his stuff.
Yeah, the main focus that I'm going to be pushing through, at least for the content that I'm going to be creating for this, is around basically building your career. So building the skills that you need, leveling up, knowing what to learn, knowing how to learn it. I know John created a whole bunch of content around this with Simple Programmer, but I really just, I mean, that's the big gap that I see. And when I talk to people, it's like, well, how do I know what to learn? And it's like, here's the process. And then people go do it and it works. And yeah, it'd be nice to have some of that other content in there, but that's the main focus. And I want to provide people with more than just the process. I want to provide them with the community to be able to do it. I want to provide them with the opportunities to, actually, get in and find the content, right? Give them the tools to go look and see what's out there instead of, just kind of Googling until they come across it. Or, hoping that it pops up on Stack Overflow or something like that. And so, yeah, anyway, I've got, yeah.
I'm interested to hear what John has to say about this.
I mean, I think that, well, okay. So the way I always look at it is like you have to look at what assets that you have. Like, sure, what you're saying you could build, there's no reason why you couldn't build it, but you'd be building it from scratch, right?
Right.
Because you don't have an audience that's dedicated to that cause, right? If you
Right.
did, if you had a blog about this or podcasts that were specifically about this, and then you wanted to convert that audience into a membership, it would be fairly easy to do, I think. But you've got to drive this. Like the big thing I always think
So you
about.
think I should drive it off of one of my existing audiences?
Well, uh, I don't know. I still come down to like if we just looked at here's kind of a good way to just look at anything in business, and I think I get tripped up on this too because I was talking to a guy that has like 3.4 million YouTube subscribers and 500,000 Instagram followers, and he's like, I'm broke. He's like, I don't know how to make money. He's like, I think I have the wrong audience. And I was like,
Sure.
well, shit. I was like, if you give Joe Blow your YouTube channel, like 3.4 million subscribers and 500,000 Instagram followers, he can build a business and make
Can
money
you
of
chat me what that person's channel is?
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I am curious what their audience is. We're not going to talk publicly about them, but
but anyway, a good exercise is to look at and to say, okay, if you had a blank slate, if someone suddenly you died and someone got all of your assets, right, your business assets, what would they do? Because you're biased, right? It's like how would they look at how can they make money and build, for your assets, which I always come back to, but I'm going to keep coming back to. It's the podcasts, right? That's the thing. And so, like, to me, you could do something that deviates from the podcast, but I still think that's still your best method of making money and revenue. And that's like, I mean, that's the asset that I would, if I suddenly bought your company, right, I would drop all the coaching stuff. I would drop everything else. And I would just focus on trying to monetize the podcast as much as possible. I would try to fill out every single sponsorship slot that I could. And then every slot that I couldn't fill, I would fill with an affiliate promotion. And then I would keep on testing out affiliate promotions until I found the ones that actually worked to actually replace the sponsorships. And then the affiliate promotions that worked, like if I had some affiliate promotion that was working the best, then what I would do is I would build my own product to replace that affiliate promotion and start selling that. That would be the course of action that I would take. That's why it's like, I mean, I'm not going to say like what you have is a bad idea, because it's not a bad idea. It's just not the one that I feel like with your assets will be the best option that will give you the most traction. It's almost like starting over again, because then you have to think about like, how does your assets, your podcast assets, really like synergize with this new thing? Sure, you can sell some people into this, maybe, but if you think you can sell people into this, then instead just find someone else's offering that is similar, right? And see if you can sell your audience into that. And if you can, then I would be more on board. But right now, what you're doing is you're basically like going to build this huge infrastructure and all of this complexity, and then hope that your audience will buy it. And if your audience won't buy it, then you'll have to find and create an audience that will buy it. And that's the danger that I see with it is, what's the smallest, like, can you create some kind of, instead of going this big, can you create one specific outcome or result that people can get that you can offer them, right? Just one thing. Like, what is the one thing? Like, I mean, even just as simple as, get your first speaking engagement, get on stage for the first time as a developer, right? Publish your first book as a developer, right? Whatever it is, or, get your first 6-figure salary, get a pay raise, whatever, like anything that's a very specific outcome that they could get. That would be, I think that would be better to try and build and sell that first.
I gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. And like, if I were to kind of, what I was trying to explain was, or think about was, what is the easiest thing when it comes to marketing and sales for your business? Like what kind of efforts or product or promotion will bring you the most money in the least amount of effort? So John's saying it in a different way, like how you would structure a business. I'm thinking more from marketing and sales perspective. Like what would you be able to market and sell the quickest, the best, the most, the easiest? And it almost like comes together with what John is saying there, because yeah, sponsorships are like the kind of the sitting duck there. It's the step one of what you should be able to sell and sell consistently, and then maybe sell other products. The mastermind being the other one, and the coaching call being the other one. This is a long road, man. Like selling a $40 membership, it's a long road, especially if you don't have an audience that's like tuned to that idea. And now you have to tune them to that idea, which will take forever to get them. I mean, you do have an audience of developers, but to sell them on a solution that exists in the marketplace and saying, now I have a better solution than them, that's hard work. Unlike, but if you went very precise and very specific, even then, selling courses at this stage in your business, when you have a podcast that generates what, $250,000 downloads per month now total? What is it? Is it all combined?
Per month? Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah, shit. I mean, sponsorships, whatever happened to that company that was going to fill up your sponsorships?
Yeah, they found me one sponsor so far, and they're not being very communicative, so I think I might just have to go and
and this is the difference between precision and I think
you've got the full-time job now that's going to pay really well, right?
Yeah.
So this is a good opportunity, and I should follow the same advice, and I'm going to try to follow the same advice as what I was saying at the very beginning of this call, which is, I think what you need to do, just my suggestion, is just forget everything else, drop everything that you can drop in the business or that you can assign to someone else, and devote 100% of your time and energy, or 90%, whatever it comes down to, that you can actually devote to the business, to building a repeatable process of closing sponsorship deals on the podcast.
Right.
Period. Because if you do that, then you get that process in place, you get your sponsorships filled up, then you hire someone to take that over and you train them. And then now you can move on to the next project, which might be, how can I grow the podcasts that I already have? That's probably the next lowest hanging fruit. And then the third probably next one is, how can I create new podcasts that will, in this process, right? So I think that's number one is if you can do that, because if you can master that process, that's it. Your business will be insanely good. There is a way to do it.
This is deja vu. Didn't we talk about this exact thing 2 years ago? Just like, dude, it's like we didn't make
and I was doing it.
2 years. Yeah,
I was doing it, and then COVID hit, and nobody wanted to talk to me. It was all, well, we're not spending any marketing money right now, and so then we started doing the coaching stuff. Yeah, I think I could probably line up sponsors, I think, without a ton of. Anyway, I think that's kind of. I think that's the lowest hanging fruit, to be honest. I mean, I really enjoy the coaching. I really enjoy helping people out.
Going to your core,
my favorite, but
revenue channel. Unfortunately, that's like the part where you have to make a decision, because you are kind of conflicted between the thing that you enjoy doing and the thing that can make you money. And that's, I don't know how to reconcile that part, man.
And you probably, you probably don't enjoy selling the coaching, is what I would guess as well. Like that's probably because doing the coaching is a lot easier than selling the coaching, right?
Yes.
It's like I've got one of my coaching clients, and he's got a pretty big YouTube channel with 500,000 subscribers, and he's just making sponsorship money at this point. I mean, I'm helping him to get out, and one of the low hanging fruit is I was like, because he just quit his job. I was like, well, I can get you 10K a month extra revenue, just like instantly, like if you want. And he was like, what? I was like, you could just do coaching, $1,000 an hour. You have you have 500,000 people that are subscribed to your YouTube channel. We could sell all 10 slots in one day, like easily. We'll outsell it.
Right.
But, and he's like, oh yeah, that's great. And he's going to do it. But I warned him too. I was like, you're probably not actually going to really want to do this. I mean, you think you want to do it now, $10,000 a month extra income sounds great, but it's time that you have to put in that you get paid for the time. It's not growing the business in any way. And that's not like, that's the thing. That's why I don't like coaching. Like the only reason why I do coaching is because I don't have to solicit it. People come to me. And so it just, and I just book it all on Wednesday. And then I just, it's extra income. And if I had to solicit it and sell people and close them on it, I wouldn't do it, because I don't want to waste the effort to make that, I want to do the things that are going to expand the business. And coaching, it can generate you revenue, but it's not something that is going to grow, that you're going to grow the business with.
Right.
So, but the podcast, if you can fill those sponsorship slots, that will definitely.
Yeah. I think that's probably the lowest hanging fruit. I mean, for the first year after the whole Twitter thing, it was hard to get people to talk to me in some senses because of that too, but it's almost entirely and completely blown over at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit probably doesn't even matter to people right now.
No, it doesn't. So
I mean, I could fire up my Twitter. No, just kidding.
Yeah. But yeah,
hey
I agree.
It's like, don't even start.
But I think you're right. I think chasing the sponsorship stuff is probably the easiest way to go. And then from there, right, then it opens up a bunch of options as far as
so this is a very interesting
whatever I want to do.
Entrepreneurial challenge. Like when I look at it from an abstracted point of view, what you're going through is a very interesting entrepreneurial challenge. The thing that you hate to do is the thing that will bring you the money, and the thing that you want to do is just, it's not going to bring the money right away. It might be years before it actually makes you any kind of serious money. So the question in this game of entrepreneurship is, how do you get to do the things you enjoy doing while still making a lot of money?
Right.
And I wonder, like, in situations when we are faced with a situation like this as an entrepreneur, here's the truth about entrepreneurship that I think everyone kind of sort of understands, that you have to be a salesperson as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Salesperson as a marketer. Otherwise, you just don't, like, it's very hard to do this game. So I almost do not know any entrepreneurs who are not good salespeople, unless they are paired up with someone who's a good salesperson. That's the only other option. So either you do it yourself, or you pair yourself with a person who will do the sales and marketing for you. But there's no other choice.
Yeah, one thing with the prosperous coach that I like is that mostly if you're bringing people in and getting them on the coaching calls, like the initial coaching, you just coach them and then you ask them if they want more, right? So you just prove your value out, and then you just ask them if they want more of it. And so it's not so much I'm trying to convince you to do something, that I want you to do. It's literally, hey, look, I think this has been valuable for you, so let's keep doing it. And so it's not as hard a process. But I kind of had to rework my process a little bit to make it a little bit so that it would fit that, so that it was more natural for me to do it.
Yes,
But
but again, like goes back to the question where are you okay with sales and marketing? Are you going to enjoy sales and marketing to the point where you will stick with it? Or will you do it for a while only to get frustrated with it to go to the next thing in your that you enjoy doing, which is creating stuff? And I don't blame you. Like creation is more fun than sales and marketing,
I really like making stuff.
right?
I
But
do.
that's the challenge. That's the challenge of
Yeah.
entrepreneurship. That's the graveyard of entrepreneurship too. Like in the sense,
Yeah.
the creator in you can take your business to the grave because then you're
Yeah.
just taking time away from sales and marketing. You should be investing 80% of your time on sales and marketing
Yeah.
Hmm.
as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. I can do that. I
But
can.
that's the question. Like 80% of your time on sales and marketing, Chuck. Right now, I think you spend 10% of your time on sales and marketing.
Well, the
20.
thing is that if I have if I have a full slate of sponsors on the shows, right?
Uh,
Then it's a different thing, right? Because then the 80% of time on sales and marketing isn't finding new sponsors, right? It might be filling the couple gaps, right? But the rest of that time is going to be growing the shows or starting new shows and creating new inventory or things like that, right? Where it's okay, I created the show, now I have another gap to fill kind of thing.
Well, yes and no. Let me kind of think through the steps here and see if you would agree with them. Initially, you would have to spend the 80% time on sales and marketing to get your sponsorships to work to the point where you actually have a filled up slot,
Right.
right? And that'll take a while. I don't know how long it'll take. It might be 6 months before you actually hit that point where
Hmm.
sponsorships are chugging along and you've got a really good system going. Then you would hire someone to do that for you. But now that sponsorships are working just fine, you're going to invest your next 80% on the next level of marketing stuff that's going to come your way that hopefully you will be able to do. Because just because you sell sponsorships today doesn't mean that 6 months later you won't need to sell
Right.
different kinds of offers, sponsorships. You will be creating new offers for your sponsors. You'll be creating new
Hmm.
dimensions. Like creating offers and doing the marketing and sales work will always be 80% of your work, or should be till a certain stage of business where you can hire someone to do it.
Yeah, I guess that's a possibility that I hadn't really thought through was, yeah, creating new offers or trying new things, putting new things in front of the sponsors to see, yeah, what those things are. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know. It's weird because, like, some people, they just want the regular old, I give you money, you run my ads, end of story, right? And some people, yeah, it's like, hey, look, we're willing to try new things to move the needle, right? So we might do, fully sponsored episodes, or we might do, an online webinar, or we might do something completely different and off the wall, right? Where you pull this, completely different thing together for us, right? Who knows what it is, right? You know, um, just something completely weird, where we get all the hosts together and we auto tune us singing a jingle about their thing. I mean, who knows, right? Just to go completely bonkers, right? But yeah, some of them are going to pay for something like that just to see if it works, right? Or because they think it's a novel approach that might get them eyeballs. And so I can see that where, yeah, you would wind up spending a chunk of time going, okay, how do we attract these sort of forward thinking, experimenting, what do we do next to, get another chunk of the market type folks, right? Or maybe it's, what, we're going to sponsor you to the tune of a whole bunch more money so that you will put together and post a series of video tutorials on our product.
Yeah. And when you, so there are so many different sponsorships,
Right.
right? There is the bumper, the intro, outro, mid-roll
Mm-hmm.
bumper. There is the full episode. There is email blast. There is
Mm-hmm.
blog posts. There's webinars. There's video. All of
Right.
that stuff, right? You're just like, how about the intro, outro bumper is what you're kind of selling
Yeah.
right now. But if you just kept on working on that offer suite for sponsorships, you would come up with much better offers.
Right.
And when you say, okay, once the sponsorship slots are filled, then I can go back to creation and be the creator. No, because at that point, the way you would think about marketing might change a little bit, marketing and sales. What you would still have to do is now figure out creative new ways to explosively grow this podcast, which might mean partnerships, which might mean joint ventures,
Right.
which might mean affiliates, which might mean, buying email lists and this and that. Like that is where you would invest your effort,
Right.
not in going and becoming a creator all over again.
No, that makes sense.
So becoming a creator should be 20-30% of your business, but not 100% or even close to anything like that.
Right.
And if anything, you do the creator work, inside of the creator work should be more of work that actually is tuned to marketing. So it shouldn't be just content for the sake of content, but content that actually triggers marketing or triggers certain kind of calls to action for your audiences.
No, that makes
So marketing
sense.
will never stop.
Yeah.
Marketing and
No,
sales will not stop.
Okay. Makes sense.
Chuck's like, somehow I just want to get over this marketing and sales thing so I can do the fun stuff.
Okay, now get out of my head.
Entrepreneurs never get to do the fun stuff. You have to make the boring stuff the fun stuff.
Sometimes, right?
I have one of my fingers I want to show you, John.
Fingers?
Yeah.
Oh.
No. Yeah. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. But
Like
but
this
yeah,
is
I mean,
this
it's
this
true.
is the most yeah, go ahead.
No, but yeah, I mean, you're right. The thing that I love is, making the shows, making the podcasts, getting in front of people and kind of blowing their mind with something that makes a major difference for them and, changes the trajectory of their life or career. It's not the, oh, I sold another sponsor, right? I mean, yeah, it's nice. It pays the bills, but yeah.
I mean, that's because it's a random event for you that is not something that you have orchestrated or planned out or put into, if you have a system that you're putting in place and you start selling the sponsorships, every single one of those will be exciting because your shit worked. Like what you did worked. You see what I'm saying? So right now getting a sponsor is just it's not a big event, but because it's not what you focused on. But if you put in a process and you focus on it, then I think then it'll become a lot more rewarding when you achieve the result. You see, and then you can optimize that and see how much better you can get at it. Like, so anything can be exciting. It's just a matter of of getting a process in place and be able to optimize and be able to feel like what you're doing has an effect on the end result. When things are randomly coming in, you don't really feel like what you're doing has an impact. But when you're purposely designing a plan and then that plan works and then you're making that plan better and it's more successful, then it's exciting. Right.
Nope, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's like the best part of like creating a product is launching that product and then watching people buy it. That's the thing that makes it addicting, is that part of it. So
yeah, it sucks, man, but you have to go back to selling sponsorships.
Nope, it's fine. I'm totally good with it. The thing is if I can get that needle to move and I can get it to consistent, because I was consistent on it or at least I was making consistent enough money to live on it for 6 years.
Yeah. There's no reason why you can't be back there.
Yeah, if I can get back there, then I mean that's
and now you have great. Now you have less overhead too, right? Because your costs are down now. So
yeah.
I mean, you could even okay, so here's one way to get sponsorships. Okay. On the podcast, you have a bumper, whether it's intro, outro, mid-roll, whatever, saying, hey, do you want to reach an audience of Java developers on a consistent basis? If so, reach out to me because we're looking for sponsors for our shows for the next 6 months.
Yep.
And you do that on all your podcasts over the next few weeks. And I bet there are people who are listening who are like, shit, that would be very valuable to me to be able to reach out to these people are
Yeah.
listening to this podcast because I have a company that does this, this, and this. I have a company that
Right.
has these Java tools that they would, JavaScript tools that they need, or Ruby tools that they need, or blah, blah, blah. So it's not far-fetched to
Yep.
go down that track to do what. Once you dedicate yourself to the cause of figuring out sponsorships, you will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't know why I didn't try and do this sooner, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, I think at this point, whatever reasons there may have been to not do it, they just don't exist anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the market is the best it's ever been. So if
Yeah.
not now,
Yeah.
when?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? This is the most. This is the time to hit it
Yeah.
Yep.
and get your sponsorships.
Yeah. It always, I mean, the way I always look at it too, just dividing businesses, there's three parts of business. Every business, it's traffic, it's sales process, it's product. The easiest thing is product.
Mm-hmm.
That's the easiest thing because and you've got product. So getting traffic is the hardest thing. The sales process is not hard either because you can
Mm-hmm.
figure that out. It's not as hard. So you just have to figure out for you getting traffic in this case, for this part of the business, for this lens means getting the leads.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you going to generate the leads? That's the big question. Of course, advertising on the podcast, yes, those are the leads that are kind of given to you, but then you've got to figure out a plan to get, how do you get 50 leads per week that you can bring into sales process, phase 2, because you already have the product. So that's the big challenge, is like, how do you get the leads? Because once you get, if you can consistently get the leads, then you'll figure out the sales process, like that'll work, and then you've got the product.
But I know who a lot of the people are that are advertising on podcasts.
Yeah, but that's only going to last you how long?
Well, if I'm doing 50 a week, it's going to last me a few weeks.
Yeah, and then that's it. So you need to like be able to consistently every week. I mean, I don't know how many there are total. Like if you made a list of everyone advertising on podcasts, how many would you come up with?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's probably, I mean, that's all I'm saying, is that you got to figure out a good solution for coming up with how are you going to get your 50 leads or whatever it is, per week. And then that's the number one, like solve that problem first. Like, how do you get the leads?
Yep.
So
nope, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you need to, I think, go through the whole process all over again, like whatever we were talking about 2 years ago on the podcast, exactly that, which is build a flywheel, build a machine for your sponsorships from the ground up, which is having very clear metrics, even if it is one metric you have right now, which is number of sales calls booked or number of, leads reached out, whatever it is, one controllable metric, that would be a good starting point.
Yep.
Making a lot of controllable metrics initially to get the process going, and then worrying about the non-controllable metrics once the controllable metrics are like working.
Yep.
If the controllable metric is how many people you reached out to, it's good. It's a good starting point.
Makes sense.
Sucks,
my
man.
brain's just
you're like
along.
Are you gonna still worry about the product that you're working on?
Yeah. I'm just gonna be honest. Yes.
No.
I hurt Manny's feelings.
You do. Don't do it, because it will just delay the process for the sponsorship stuff. Like, here's the other thing to think about. Like, pick one revenue channel, make it work, and only when you feel like it's consistently bringing you enough money, go pick the next revenue channel, make that work. Because otherwise you're just dilly-dallying with like 3 different revenue channels. None of them are making consistent money. And now you're like, pretty soon you'll be going to go for the 4th one and the 5th one. How about
Sounds
you
like
just
fun.
yeah, right? But going to one core revenue channel and making that work is like 1,000 times more effective than having 3 revenue channels.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll give you an example. I was listening to the interview of Reed Hastings, the founder of Netflix.
Netflix.
Right. Yeah. By the way, anyone who is a serious student of entrepreneurship should subscribe to the Greylock YouTube channel, Greylock Partners. It's a venture capital firm by Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn. Right.
Mhm.
He's the dude behind it. And there's so many great videos on real hardcore entrepreneurial stuff, especially scaling. And Reed Hastings, the founder of Netflix, he was talking about the early days of Netflix when Blockbuster suddenly came into the scene and they were trying to underprice Netflix and do all sorts of crazy things just to win markets. And what Reed Hastings said was, in that moment, we decided we're going to, we started a team that would, add one more product line to Netflix. And then we started another thing, which would, create a social network with your friends inside of Netflix. Then we started another adventure with a different product suite of services along with Netflix. And we did a whole bunch of things trying to compete with Blockbuster so that we wouldn't get, annihilated by them. But little by little, one by one, we shut down all of them. And we just went back to the basics, which is making our DVD business at that time work way better than Blockbuster. And that's where we ultimately won. And what he was saying in that interview was like, effectively in your business, you just have to go back to doing the one thing that's effectively going to, that crucial thing that's going to make the money, and let, not invest your effort, time, or energy on, these new product lines all the time, which will take you away from the core business altogether.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Netflix. They're just not some random company.
Yep.
The FANG.
All right. Should we do our thoughts for the day, for the week?
Sure.
Yeah. God, it feels like it's been forever since we talked.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've said this before, and I'll just point it out again. I mean, this is part of masterminding. You guys have said some stuff that I probably didn't want to hear, right? But the flip side is that we get on, we get together, we talk about this stuff, we share our thoughts. There's definitely some of it I'm taking to heart. Some of it I'll probably not take to heart. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, you kind of bend your brain toward, hey, let's figure out what what we think the best outcome is, and then, I mean, I got a ton of clarity out of this, right? Now, I may not take all the advice, but I still got a ton of clarity and a ton of value out of it, and I think that's the real power of masterminds, of having these kinds of conversations with people who are invested in a good outcome, right? And so I just encourage anybody out there who's listening to this and thinking, oh, I want to go, do this, that, or the other, go freelance, go start a business, do better in my career, my life in some way, go find a group of people that are going to have these tough conversations with you and tell you what they think, and, share their expertise and, get their input.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. One of the things I've been thinking about a lot lately is hacking life. Go where people are doing what you want to be good at. It's really as simple as that. You don't need to like if you wanna get healthy, just show up at the CrossFit gym every freaking day. And little by little, one day at a time, things will work. If you want to become a better salsa dancer, just show up at the freaking salsa class every freaking day. If you want to become a better rock climbing, just show up to the rock climbing gym every day. If you want to, the reason why I thought about this was the reason, I was thinking about why focus blocks work. Literally, I'm not trying to market it right now. But I was just thinking we have to go where people are doing what we need to do, what we need to get good at.
Right.
And the reason why focus blocks works to me is like because we're going where people are doing what we want to do. And it's the same with everything in life. Health, wealth, fitness. Go where people are doing what you want to get good at, or what you want to do more of, what you want to improve. And things automatically happen 1,000 times more than you just sitting in your head trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I agree. It's true. It's an easy hack.
It's one of the easiest hacks.
Obvious, but people forget about it.
Yeah, it's so obvious that people are like, why is Manny talking about it? But it really is like you can inspect any area of your life and analyze, are you spending time with people in that area? If not, go do that.
Yeah.
I want to grow a rockin' beard. I'm in the right place.
There you go.
You just have to be physically around to be able to touch the beard every day.
So mine is pretty simple. Mine is just focus, immerse yourself in things. Like when I go back, like I was saying today, I was kind of resetting. I'm like, all right, let me get rid of all of the crap that doesn't really need to be done, and then just work on one project at a time, focused. Because what I look at in my past, like all the things that have really been successful, it's when I did that, right? From writing books to building courses, like all those things were focused on one specific thing. And so I'm going to focus on one specific thing. That's immersing yourself is a lot more effective than scattershot all over the place. So
Chuck, let me call you back after this for like 5 minutes to talk about the possible promotion. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
all right, see you guys next week then.